Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 top shooters you should be watching out for in 2015. First on the list is Battlefield Hardline, EA's first attempt at making a non-militaristic Battlefield game. It certainly looks like a military game, but it's actually cops and criminals. Rather than focusing on military technology with jets and tanks, this is going to have more of an emphasis on getaway cars and police chases. It's bringing in several new game modes, the most notable of which is Hotwire. This has several cars scattered throughout the maps, all of which act as capture points, and once you capture them, your team starts generating points. It's basically like a conquest game mode, except all the cap points are mobile. This leads to a lot of really cool car chases, and having played it myself, I gotta say I'm really excited to play this at launch. The next game I gotta talk about here is certainly the Call of Duty 2015 release. We start with Battlefield, move on to Call of Duty, get the big AAA titles out of the way. This one, however, looks like it could be interesting. We know virtually nothing about it except that there was kind of a cryptic post on Treyarch's Facebook page that showed an image of basically Pearl Harbor aftermath. This suggests that we might be getting a World War II themed Call of Duty game, much like World at War. A lot of gamers, myself included, have been kind of missing that World War II franchise in the AAA titles. There's certainly some World War II games you can play out there, but a lot of them are kind of indie games, and I would love to see Battlefield follow suit and potentially tackle the World War II theme once again. It'll also be really interesting to see how Call of Duty does the kill streak and customization system, and I think if they come up with something really innovative, this could again lead other developers to follow suit. Next up is Blizzard's Overwatch. The legendary developer Blizzard is getting into the first-person shooter market, and I think all other developers should be a bit afraid. Given their amazingly successful games of the past like StarCraft, World of Warcraft, Diablo, and Hearthstone, I have a feeling we're going to see another big hit. The shooter itself has a very cartoony nature to it. It's easy to draw a parallel with it and say Team Fortress 2. I have a feeling though that they're going directly for the MOBA first-person shooter market, which is something that a few other companies are taking a crack at. The most notable of which, and was actually announced before Overwatch, was Battleborn, and it looks very similar in a lot of ways. We'll have to see how these two shooters compete with each other. Next on the list is Evolve from Turtle Rock Studios. You guys have probably heard about this game. It's getting a lot of attention in the media right now, and it's going to be available in February. The game focuses on a multiplayer 4 versus 1 format. There's one giant monster and 4 smaller hunters. Now the monster can probably easily overpower a single hunter, but when the hunters group up and use tactics and strategy, hopefully they can take out the monster. So it's certainly a unique idea for doing a multiplayer game, and we'll have to find out in February if this format's going to work out. There's also several other developers working on a similar 4v1 multiplayer format. Next up, we're going to look at Homefront: The Revolution. This game takes place in a dystopian future where you play a resistance fighter in an open world environment. Like Evolve, it's using the CryEngine 4, and the graphics look absolutely stunning. Now, the development of this game has seen its fair share of hiccups. It's changed developers, potentially even changed engines at one point, and it's also a sequel to a game that was not that well received overall. That being said, what I've seen so far from the gameplay looks absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. We don't know too much about the multiplayer aspect of the game, but I have a feeling the focus is mostly going to be on single player. Then we have Star Wars Battlefront. We'll probably see this late 2015, but I can only imagine how awesome a Star Wars game is going to be developed by DICE. The graphics and the early game footage look absolutely amazing, and if they're even half of that trailer, I have a feeling we're in for a real treat. The simplest way to explain the gameplay from Battlefront is that it's simply a Star Wars version of Battlefield, which if you're a fan of Star Wars or Battlefield must be music to your ears. The next game on the list is Tom Clancy's The Division, being developed by Ubisoft using the Snowdrop engine. A lot of people are both extremely excited and a little bit skeptical about this game. Ubisoft has had a few problems, development issues in the past with some of their titles, and people just don't want to see that translated over to this game because it simply looks too damn cool. The plot of the game takes place in New York after the government has basically been shut down by a crazy disease outbreak, and you play play a character that is part of the Division, some specially trained operatives that are designed to function once the government has actually shut down. And the world you play in is both going to be PvP combat and PvE combat. This seems like it could be a massive title if done right. Next up, we have another Tom Clancy game, Rainbow Six Siege. This focuses on extremely tactical 5v5 multiplayer combat. There's probably going to be a single player aspect to the game as well, but I think most people are really excited about its potential for competitive online gaming. It seems to be taking that Counter-Strike formula to the next level with extremely destructible environments. The house you see here is being completely torn apart by small arms fire and breaching charges. Being a massive fan of well-balanced tactical shooters, this is definitely at the top of my list for games in 2015. Next up, we have Sony Online Entertainment's take on a zombie survival game. Yes, it's pretty much a DayZ clone, but it looks awesome. Coincidentally, it's actually coming out today for early access on Steam. DayZ certainly showed the world what a zombie survival shooter could be like, but it's been so buggy and had such a delayed development process that it's given many other companies enough time to come around and put in some good development work and come up with strong competitors. And I have a feeling that H1Z1 is actually going to be the demise of DayZ. The game has ragdoll zombie physics, a complex crafting and building system, and an interesting stamina setup. Lastly, we have Halo 5 Guardians. Coming from a game that essentially launched the Xbox, this has certainly got some big shoes to fill, but having played a lot of the beta, I have to say the multiplayer is top notch. It's a modern day arena shooter done right. The production quality in this game is stellar. It's next gen console only, so you can expect some pretty high graphics, and I imagine the campaign's going to be awesome. Now, if we can only get the developers to have it come out on PC, but PC gamers have been barking up that tree for a long time. Anyway, that wraps it up for my top 10 shooters of 2015. Let me know in the comments if there's a shooter you think I overlooked. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.